20 years after her husband John passed away, Linda moved on and remarried, holding only memories of John in her heart. One day, while walking past a mental hospital by chance, she was stopped in her tracks. There, at a window, she saw John, messy and panicky, yelling for help. She quickly walked on, completely taken aback by what she had just witnessed. It couldn't really be John, of course. John had died years ago. It was probably just a crazy coincidence, and a man who happened to look a lot like him. But it could never really be him. That is impossible, she told herself, and she continued walking. However, before she had even made it to the end of the street, she dropped her bags and ran back toward the mental hospital. Even though she had been telling herself that it simply couldn't be John, she couldn't stop thinking about it for even a second. She needed to see that man again, just to convince herself, and then she would go home. Linda walked past that same window again, but she saw no one. She walked around for a minute, glancing at the window every few seconds, desperately waiting for that familiar face to pop back up. But it didn't. She waited and waited, but no one appeared, and she finally walked away. At this moment, she still did not know that she would return only days later and make the most horrific discovery of her life. What was I even thinking? Of course it's not him, she scolded herself as she picked up her bags from the floor. She was frustrated and annoyed with herself for letting herself get so caught up in this, but when she arrived home, everything seemed normal again for a short moment. Her husband, Phil, greeted her with a gentle kiss at the door, and he had already set the table for dinner. "Hi, honey," he said warmly, as he took the heavy bags from her. "Let's eat. Dinner is ready." They enjoyed the evening together, but Phil noticed that his wife was stressed out. She seemed tense and completely lost in thought, because a couple of times, when he said something to her, she didn't even hear him. He thought that she was just tired, but he had no idea what was really going on in her mind. Wanting to help her relax, he put on their favorite TV show and sat beside her in silence, with his arm around her shoulder. However, her strange behavior continued over the next few days, but of course, Phil had no idea why. The reality was, Linda was still thinking about John, and even planning her return to that mental hospital. She wasn't delusional. She was well aware that that man whom she had seen behind the window could not be John. It was simply impossible. However, she couldn't get him out of her head, and she felt stuck. Linda knew that if she wanted to move on, she needed to go back to the hospital one more time. Even though it wasn't really him, she needed that closure. It had been years since John had even crossed her mind, but this situation had taken her completely by surprise. She decided not to tell Phil about any of it yet. She would do that afterward. And one morning, while she was on her daily walk, she decided that it was time. Without even thinking about it much, her feet strayed from her usual route, and not much later, she found herself standing in front of the mental hospital. One quick glance at that same window showed her that no one was standing behind it, and she felt a little bit disappointed. However, she wasn't going to give up and walk away that easily this time. She needed to find a way to get inside. However, that wouldn't be easy. The hospital was extremely inaccessible, and she walked around the area a couple of times before finally spotting the entrance. "Yes, that's it," Linda whispered, but the excitement of having found the entrance quickly disappeared. She remained where she was, standing still and kind of lost. The entrance was a tall gate, and it was locked. The hospital obviously wanted to keep out any unwanted visitors. Linda wondered what she should do. Should she just ring the bell? She looked around, but there was no one else to be seen. It was completely silent. and the hospital looked kind of scary at that moment. Linda felt a shiver go through her body, and she fought the urge to simply turn around, leave, and never come back to this scary place. But she owed it to herself and to John to at least try to get in. Linda approached the front desk with a confidence she didn't feel, stating she had an appointment with the director. The receptionist, slightly puzzled, glanced at her schedule before nodding Linda through. Linda walked past, her heart racing, as she entered the labyrinth of the mental hospital, determined to find John amidst its echoing halls and sterile smells. Once inside, Linda started her quest. She approached staff members, asking casually if they knew of a patient named John. Each question was posed with a rehearsed ease, aiming not to arouse suspicion. Yet, the staff's vague answers and quick glances among themselves only heightened Linda's awareness that finding John would be no straightforward task. The more Linda inquired, the more evasive the responses became. Staff members would often look at each other before answering, or avoid her gaze altogether. This peculiar behavior didn't go unnoticed by Linda. It was clear that they were intentionally withholding information about John, confirming her suspicion that her husband was indeed somewhere within these walls. Linda's observations grew sharper with every interaction. She noted the subtle changes in staff behavior when John's name was mentioned, the quick avoidance of eye contact, the sudden need to leave. These reactions were all the evidence she needed. John was here, and the staff's guarded demeanor was a clear indicator of a deeper secret surrounding his presence. Undeterred by the challenges, Linda grew more resolute. She began to map out the hospital's layout in her mind, noting which areas seemed more restricted. Each denied entry or evasive answer only steeled her resolve further. Linda knew she had to find a way into those off-limits areas to uncover the truth about John's mysterious circumstances and why the hospital was keeping him hidden. Linda's exploration of the hospital led her to a barely ajar door, beyond which lay a restricted area. She cautiously pushed it open, her heart racing with anticipation. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she spotted a figure that unmistakably resembled John. This accidental discovery confirmed her worst fears and ignited a spark of hope. He was here, alive, and she had to act fast to help him. The sight of John, though brief, was overwhelming. He seemed both familiar and strangely distant, altered by the shadows of his confinement. This momentary glimpse stirred a whirlwind of emotions in Linda. Shock at seeing him in such a state, relief that he was still alive, and a burning determination to understand the full extent of his situation and find a way to rescue him from this place. As she stealthily navigated back to the safer corridors, her resolve solidified. She needed a plan, resources, and allies if she was to mount a successful rescue for John. Every step back was a step forward in her determination to save him. The fleeting encounter with John had a profound effect on Linda. It transformed her initial shock into a steel-hard determination. Now, more than ever, she was committed to taking decisive action. The gears in her mind turned rapidly as she considered her next steps. Linda knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but she was ready to face them head-on for John's sake. Armed with the knowledge of John's presence in the hospital, Linda began to formulate a meticulous plan. She thought about every conceivable strategy, from disguising herself for re-entry to seeking help from sympathetic insiders. Determined to navigate the challenges that lay ahead, she was fueled by the urgent need to bring John safely back home. Linda's cautious movements through the hospital corridors didn't go unnoticed for long. Staff members, growing suspicious of her persistent questions and lingering presence, quickly converged upon her. Without much ceremony, they identified her as an intruder, not a visitor, which led to immediate action to remove her from the premises, cutting short her search for John within the hospital's confining walls. The staff, firm and unyielding, escorted Linda out of the hospital. Their stern faces and brisk pace left no room for negotiation. As they led her to the exit, they issued a stern warning not to return, emphasizing the consequences if she did. This abrupt end to her visit thwarted her immediate efforts to learn more about John's condition and whereabouts within the facility. Standing outside the hospital, Linda's initial frustration quickly transformed into a deeper resolve. The barriers put in her way, and the stark warning she received did nothing to deter her. Instead, they fueled her determination to find another method, another approach to aid John. Linda took a moment to collect her thoughts and plan her next steps carefully. Understanding the complexity of infiltrating the hospital unnoticed and reaching John, she began to consider alternative strategies. Her mind raced through various scenarios, each plan forming and reforming as she weighed her options, determined to devise a foolproof method to continue her mission without further hindrance. The day's events, rather than discouraging Linda, only served to strengthen her resolve. She felt a renewed commitment to her cause, understanding that the path to helping John would be fraught with obstacles, but worth every effort. Linda, after the day's events, found herself wrestling with the undeniable truth that John was still alive. This revelation reignited her determination to uncover everything about his situation. She knew the road ahead would be challenging, but the thought of John, alive and possibly in need of her help, spurred her into action. She was ready to dive deep into the mystery surrounding his predicament. Linda spent the night considering her options for re-entering the hospital. She brainstormed various strategies, from disguising herself as a hospital staff member to creating a fake ID badge. Linda even pondered the possibility of seeking help from someone on the inside. Each option came with its own set of risks, but she was determined to find the best way to get back to John. Understanding the complexities of her mission, Linda reached out to her extensive network, looking for anyone who might have connections to the hospital or possessed legal expertise. She made calls, sent messages, and even arranged meetings with acquaintances who could offer insight or assistance. Linda knew that the right ally could make all the difference in her efforts to navigate the hospital's security and bureaucracy. As Linda gathered information and weighed her options, her plans grew increasingly bold. She evaluated the risks and benefits of sneaking back into the hospital, considering everything from the layout of the building to the shifts of the guards. Each potential method was meticulously thought out, with Linda ready to take calculated risks to ensure her return to John and uncover the truth of his situation. With a clear strategy beginning to take shape, Linda's resolve hardened. She felt a deep commitment to her mission, undeterred by the potential dangers that lay ahead. Prepared to face any challenge, Linda was determined to save John and expose the circumstances of his mysterious situation. Her plan was set, and she was ready to act, come what may, to bring John home. Linda meticulously began to compile evidence of John's existence and their life together. She gathered old photographs that captured moments of joy, love, and companionship, alongside their marriage certificate. Each piece served as a testament to their shared history, a tangible link to the man she knew was still within the hospital's walls, waiting to be found and brought back to the life they once shared. Understanding the complexity of navigating the mental health system's bureaucracy, Linda reached out to her network. She contacted friends, family, and any acquaintances who might offer legal advice or have connections within the hospital. Her phone calls, emails, and meetings were all aimed at finding the right approach to gain access to John. leveraging every relationship she had to aid her mission. Linda took great care in documenting every piece of evidence she had collected. She created a detailed file that chronicled her and John's relationship, organizing photographs, legal documents, and any correspondence that could support her claim. This meticulous documentation was her ammunition, prepared to prove her connection to John and justify her need to see him, to the hospital authorities. With her evidence prepared, Linda began to strategize on how best to present her case to the hospital authorities. She knew that a direct and confrontational approach might lead to resistance. Instead, she planned to use her compiled evidence as a persuasive tool, aiming to appeal to their sense of compassion and duty. Linda sought the most effective way to navigate the hospital's protocols to reunite with John. Despite facing numerous challenges, Linda's determination only grew stronger. Each obstacle she encountered on her journey to see John Freynell again fueled her resolve. She remained undaunted, her spirit unbroken by the bureaucratic hurdles and the evasive tactics of the hospital staff. Linda's efforts were driven by a deep-seated determination to overcome the barriers between her and John, no matter the difficulty. Linda faced a wall of bureaucratic obstacles at every turn. Trying to gain official access to the hospital, she navigated through a labyrinth of red tape, only to be met with suspicion from hospital staff. Each inquiry and request for access seemed to entangle her further in a web of procedural delays and evasive responses, highlighting the daunting task ahead in her quest to reach John. In her pursuit, Linda found an unexpected ally in a journalist known for investigating systemic failures within the mental health system. They met to discuss Linda's situation and the journalist's interest in exposing the hospital's opaque operations. United by a common goal, they began to plan a covert visit that would shed light on the truth and potentially reunite Linda with John. Together, Linda and the journalist meticulously crafted a strategy to bypass the hospital's defenses and expose its hidden truths. They plotted every detail of their covert visit, considering the best ways to avoid detection while gathering evidence. Their plan was bold, aiming not just to bring Linda and John together again, but to spotlight the systemic issues within the hospital. This new partnership offered Linda a beacon of hope. Collaborating with the journalist, she saw a unique opportunity to blend her personal mission with an effort to bring broader attention to the hospital's failures. Their combined skills and determination opened up new avenues for action, reinvigorating Linda's resolve to fight for John and for the many others potentially affected by similar issues. Despite the setbacks she had faced, Linda's determination was rekindled with the journalist's support. The possibility of uncovering the truth about John's situation, combined with the chance to expose the hospital's systemic flaws, fueled her resolve. She was ready to confront whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with a renewed sense of purpose and the support of her new ally. Linda, now disguised as a regulatory inspector, steps confidently into the hospital, her disguise a key to bypassing security. She leverages a loophole in the visitation policies she discovered, allowing her to walk the halls with a purpose. Her badge and clipboard are her shields, protecting her true identity as she embarks on this critical mission to find John within the maze of the hospital. Every step Linda takes is measured, her heart racing with the possibility of being discovered. She knows this might be her only chance to reach John, to finally see him after so long. With each turn through the hospital's corridors, she's acutely aware of the staff's scrutinizing eyes on her, making her mission not just a physical journey but an emotional gauntlet as well. In preparation for this day, Linda's efforts to embody an inspector were meticulous. She studied the part, learning the jargon and adopting the posture of someone with authority. Her disguise is more than just clothes. It's a carefully constructed persona, designed to deflect suspicion and allow her to move freely within the hospital, all in the hope of finding John. Linda is fully aware of the risks her plan entails. Being caught could mean losing any chance of seeing John, or worse, legal repercussions. Yet, the potential reward of aiding John and bringing to light the hospital's secrets far outweighs the danger. Her determination is fueled by the critical nature of her mission, pushing her forward despite the palpable risk at every corner. As Linda navigates the hospital, each step brings a mix of fear and hope. The fear of being caught lurks in the back of her mind, but it's the hope of reuniting with John that drives her. This delicate balance of emotions propels her through the hospital's corridors, each one potentially leading her closer to the truth and to John. Linda, after navigating the maze-like corridors, finally found John. Their reunion was fleeting, yet profound. She was able to briefly speak with him, confirming he was indeed being held within the hospital. Despite the brevity of their encounter, the emotional weight of seeing John, alive and so close, yet so far, was overwhelming for Linda, cementing the urgency of her mission. During their short conversation, John, though appearing confused and disoriented, recognized Linda. In a moment of lucidity, he provided a cryptic hint about the reasons behind his current predicament, adding layers to the mystery surrounding his situation. This brief exchange left Linda with more questions than answers, driving her need to uncover the full truth behind John's condition and confinement. Their reunion was abruptly interrupted as hospital staff, alerted to the presence of intruders, discovered Linda and the journalist. Realizing the jig was up, they were compelled to make a hasty retreat, leaving behind the opportunity for further dialogue with John. This forced separation underscored the risks they were taking, but also the lengths Linda was willing to go for answers. Despite the chaos of their departure, the journalist accompanying Linda managed to discreetly capture evidence of their encounter. This included footage of John's condition and the hospital staff's behavior, which could prove invaluable in their quest for justice. This captured evidence was a silver lining, providing tangible proof of John's situation and the staff's attempts to conceal his presence. Though they were forced to leave the hospital, the brief interaction with John only served to strengthen Linda's resolve. Feeling a renewed sense of purpose, she was more determined than ever to fight for John's release. This encounter, however brief, had rekindled her determination, reminding her of the reason behind her struggle and the importance of continuing her fight. The publication of the journalist's story ignited a firestorm of public outrage. People were appalled by the details of John's detainment and the dubious operations within the hospital. Social media buzzed with discussions, and news outlets picked up the story, amplifying the call for transparency and accountability. The public's reaction was swift and loud, demanding answers and action from the hospital's administration. Buoyed by the wave of public support, Linda, with the help of legal experts, initiated a legal battle for John's release. She filed petitions and prepared her case, presenting the evidence gathered by the journalist and herself. Legal proceedings began, drawing further attention to the case. Linda stood firm, ready to navigate the complexities of the legal system to bring John back home. As the legal battle unfolded, more details of John's situation came to light. Former employees and leaked documents revealed the extent of his mistreatment and the hospital's opaque practices. These revelations added fuel to the public's outrage, painting a clearer picture of the systemic failures that allowed John's situation to occur. The case became a catalyst for discussions on mental health care reform. The community's support for Linda and John grew as the case gained visibility. Vigils were held, and advocacy groups rallied, offering support and resources. The pressure from the public and legal fronts forced the hospital to address the accusations, putting them in a position where they had to defend their actions in the court of public opinion as well as in the legal system. Throughout this ordeal, Linda became a beacon of resilience and advocacy. Her fight for John's release and her stand against the hospital's practices rallied the community around her cause. The support she received only strengthened her resolve, turning her personal battle into a broader fight for justice and reform in the mental health system. Linda's story inspired hope, showing the power of perseverance and community. In a tense courtroom filled with anticipation, the judge finally ruled in Linda's favor, ordering John's release into her care. This legal victory marked a significant turning point in their journey, as Linda's relentless pursuit of justice for John culminated in a moment of triumph. The ruling not only mandated his release, but also acknowledged the legitimacy of Linda's fight, setting a precedent for future cases. The moment Linda and John reunited, their emotions overflowed. Joy mixed with sorrow as they embraced, reflecting on the long, arduous journey they had endured together. This reunion was a powerful testament to their love and resilience, offering a glimpse of hope for the future. Despite the challenges that lay ahead, their bond remained unbreakable, strengthened by the trials they had overcome. The courtroom victory was a testament to Linda's unwavering determination and belief in justice. Her tireless efforts, from gathering evidence to rallying community support, had been validated by the court's decision. This outcome not only vindicated John, but also served as a beacon of hope for others facing similar battles, illustrating the power of steadfast determination in the face of adversity. John's release from the hospital marked the beginning of a new chapter for both him and Linda. It was the start of a difficult yet hopeful journey towards recovery and normalcy. Together, they faced the challenges of healing from the trauma and rebuilding their lives, supported by the love and understanding that had guided them through their darkest times. The overwhelming support from the community and the legal victory underscored the importance of resilience and collective action. Linda and John's story had rallied people from all walks of life, creating a solid network of support that extended far beyond their personal struggle. This solidarity not only aided their cause, but also highlighted the strength found in unity, inspiring others to stand together in the face of injustice. He was forced into hiding years ago to protect her from a dangerous criminal. John began to share the details of his harrowing experience, explaining how he was forced into hiding to protect Linda from a dangerous criminal he was set to testify against. His story unveiled not just his personal ordeal, but also the systemic failures that exacerbated his predicament, shedding light on the complex interplay between his need for safety and the mental health system's inadequacies. John's revelations struck a chord with the public, igniting widespread discussions on the need for mental health system reform and better protection for vulnerable individuals. His story, shared through media interviews and social media, became a catalyst for dialogue, inspiring people to advocate for changes that would prevent similar situations from happening to others in the future. Throughout his recovery, Linda stood by John, her unwavering faith in him serving as a source of strength and comfort. Her support was not just emotional but also practical, as she helped him navigate the aftermath of his disclosure and the attention it garnered. Together, they faced each challenge, their partnership a testament to the power of love and mutual support in overcoming adversity. John and Linda's journey through recovery was marked by shared challenges and milestones that brought them closer together. Each step forward in John's healing process was a step they took as a team, reinforcing their bond and commitment to each other. This period of healing was not just about recovering from past trauma, but also about building a stronger, more resilient foundation for their future. Using their story as a platform, John and Linda became advocates for systemic change in mental health care. They called for reforms that would ensure accountability and better protection for individuals at risk, drawing from their own experiences to highlight the urgent need for change. Their advocacy work, fueled by their personal journey, aimed to create a lasting impact on the mental health system. Linda and John, supported by their community, began to rebuild their lives with newfound resilience and hope. They faced each arising challenge head-on, navigating the complexities of their new reality together. Their efforts to reconstruct their lives were a testament to their strength and the unwavering support of those around them, who stood by their side through every step of their journey. Throughout their ordeal, the power of love and perseverance shone brightly between Linda and John. Their journey through adversity only served to forge a stronger bond between them, proving that love can be a formidable force against even the most daunting challenges. Together, they emerged stronger, their love and resilience a beacon for each other and those watching their story unfold. As they adapted to their changed circumstances, Linda and John found a new equilibrium. With courage and determination, they established a sense of normalcy in their lives, embracing their experiences as a part of their journey. This new balance was a reflection of their ability to face the uncertainties of life with grace, setting a foundation for their future together. Linda often found herself reflecting on their experiences, acknowledging the profound impact they had on their lives. She recognized the importance of fighting for truth and justice, not just for themselves, but for others facing similar battles. This period of reflection deepened her understanding of their journey, reinforcing her commitment to advocating for change and supporting others in their struggles. Linda and John's story transcended their personal journey, becoming an inspirational legacy for others. It symbolized the transformative power of love, resilience, and advocacy, showing that it's possible to overcome daunting challenges with the right support and determination. Their story served as a beacon of hope for many, encouraging others to fight for their rights and seek justice in the face of adversity.